Hello, everybody. I'm a practicing therapist and a doctoral student of psychology. Today, I want to talk about the reason why avoidants stop texting you and why sometimes you might not notice it. Before we get into it, I do want to point out I had a very, very rough day at work and just a rough day in general. And so, if I'm a little bit low energy or detached, that is the reason why. But don't worry, it's nothing against you guys. So, please keep that in mind. Um, Usually what happens is when an avoidant is not texting you for a particular reason, it usually is because whatever your energy is, they're not able to cope with that at this point. Avoidants have a small threshold. So that is very important, a small threshold for emotions. And so typically, you will see whatever they perceive your energy or emotions are, even if it's not necessarily accurate, they will be avoiding that. And so I'm going to summarize it in a sort of way, but I want you guys to just keep in mind, I'm not probably going to say it as good as I could have at one point. Um, if they perceive you as like overly emotional or they perceive you as too much, they might say, okay, I don't want to engage with you at this point because I don't have the capacity for that right now. And so that's kind of what I mean. I hope that makes sense. And so, what does that mean overall, and how can we fix it? That's what I want to talk about today. And what I mean is how to break it up. Okay. So, when they're stressed and can't handle the responsibilities, they feel like that texting exchange will bring so much emotions that they're not ready to process it. They feel like if they say, like if they're off their emotional, if they're not working through their emotions and they're not able to say, hey, I need some space, especially if they're stressed, or they might be a little more negative, they are afraid that you're going to react very poorly and it's just going to create more problems. And so they give space or they ignore your messages because they feel like all that's going to do is bring up fighting. It's going to bring up more negativity and it's not going to be able to make it a positive experience. And so they will return when they feel like it's more possible for a positive experience. The next possibility is you've been very emotionally charged lately and they're not really sure what to do about that. And so they want to help you, they want to be there for you, and they want to understand you better, but they also don't want to make things worse for you emotionally. And so they almost avoid dealing with that altogether because they feel like, just as we mentioned, they don't really want the energy that they think you have right now at this point. And so they're afraid that it's just going to make it worse and they can't cope with that. It's not that they don't care about you. It's not good what they're doing. I definitely don't want to act like it's good. I'm not saying that. But I am saying that this is why they're doing what they're doing, just so you're aware of it. And so, how do you fix this? Okay. So sometimes what can help is if you take verbal accountability and awareness of your emotional state. It can be very simple. It can say, I know that I've been emotionally charged recently, and I just want to take accountability for that. It could be, I know that normally when we get into these modes, I pick fights or I always bring up negative things. I'm going to try not to do that and I want to try and enjoy the present. So if that's the reason that you're not messaging me, I just want to let you know it's going to be different this time. And I hope that you can give me a chance. Anything like that, any sort of verbal accountability and awareness can really help to allow them to realize that it's kind of in their head too, right? Because this brings them down to earth as well, so to speak, because they're seeing that they're kind of probably making a too big deal out of it too, because they're reacting as well. Them not texting you is an overreaction on their part. It just, their version of overreacting is to pull away or shut down. And so by you doing that, you're bringing you guys both to the table and saying, hey, I'm being accountable. I'm being aware of my emotional state, and they're going to also notice their own emotional state as well. So it's more likely that they're going to engage or re-engage. Okay. The next one is you want to take verbal note of their emotional state or ask about it. So these are different things. You don't want to bring them all at the same time. It depends on your case, but you might say something like, I've noticed you've been a little more stressed than usual. Is that true? And do you need me to give you some space? Anything like that. And they might say, I have been stressed. I didn't want to tell you because I don't know how you would react to it. But yeah, a little bit of space is okay. But I don't mind you texting as long as you keep that in mind. That's something that a lot of avoidants say. I almost feel like, you guys know I used to be avoidant. And what I just said, I kind of just felt like I went back like in time, because I remember that's something I would say a lot. I would say something along the lines of, I've been a little busy. I've been whatever it is, right? The issue. And I might say, I don't mind you texting as long as you keep in mind that I'm stressed. Like, basically what I was trying to say, and I didn't say it so clearly, what I was trying to say is, I am a little stressed. I would like if you would text me a little less often, or as long as the text messages don't have a lot of emotional weight. I didn't know how to say that back then. So I would say, just keep in mind, right? And then they wouldn't know, let's say the person I'm telling, it could be even a friend. They don't know what keep in mind means. So they're like, okay, that's fine. And they still texting me typically as usual, but it might be too emotional because I didn't clearly tell them. And then I would shut down because I wouldn't know how to communicate. I thought I communicated and they didn't have a clue what I was saying. And so sometimes to bridge that gap, you can say, do you want me to give you more space? Do you want me to text about less stressful things? I promise I'm going to take it well. I just want to know what to do. That will really help because then they will be like, yeah, I do want you to text less stressful things. That doesn't mean don't text me at all. Because I remember that's how I would feel. It was never that I didn't want you to text me at all. It's just that I assumed that if you did text me, it would be too much. So I would say no texting altogether. But that's not really what I meant. Inwardly, all that I wanted was it would just be a little less emotional charge while I was dealing with whatever. And that's not a good thing. Please keep in mind, like, I did change and there's a reason I changed because I didn't think that was healthy for me and I didn't want to be that way. But I'm just telling you why people do that, why avoidants do that, okay? The next one is agree to a plan together regarding these emotions. So this is if you guys have already kind of established that this is probably not the healthiest situation where they're ignoring you and they're saying, yeah, the reason why is because sometimes you are a little much, and you'll say that makes sense. But part of the reason I am a little much is because I'm reacting to you pulling away. And so I notice when we're both stressed or when we're both in this gridlock, we fight more. Do you think that we could work towards giving each other the benefit of the doubt and communicating more clearly? Because we both definitely have different mindsets and we come from different places. And I just want us to communicate. Anything like that, your version, because you know your partner, you know the issues that you guys have. But having some communication helps it to feel more collaborative, okay? The next one is to give space. If you feel like really nothing is working, sometimes that's the only thing you can do. You have truly tried everything. I have had some calls with you guys where we did establish a plan and they come back. But usually this is the plan that we kind of establish, because when I have these calls with you guys, I usually end the call with a couple directions. Usually it might be, if you want, you can text A, B, and C. We talk about that together, reconstruct it, right? Talk about this, mention this, and if that doesn't work, give this amount of time before reaching out again. And some of you guys, I've had some very specific cases where I might say, I can tell they're mad at you. Like, if I've told you that, guys, that, you know what I'm talking about. I can tell that mad at you, say this. I can guarantee you it will work. And then you guys will have a follow-up call and you're like, yeah, it does work. And then you might say on that follow-up call, I'm pretty frustrated that I always have to do the legwork. You're right. I can definitely appreciate that. And then at that point, we can work towards how to not make you have to do the legwork. But often we have those types of calls. But sometimes we will do those strategies and we still have a backup plan. That backup plan is usually, if all else fails, give it some space. Whatever your relationship is, you will know. It can be a couple hours. It can be a couple days. It can be a couple weeks. It depends. But sometimes give it space from when you normally communicate, because sometimes they need to process what's happening. However, I don't recommend that unless you've tried a strategy first. And so that's the ones prior. But if you need a specific strategy, you can book a call with me and then we can talk about it, because we've had pretty successful calls. And so if anyone's interested, pinned in the comments. Now, if you two have had an argument that led to this distance, apologize for what you believe you contributed to. That's really all you have to do. Oftentimes, it will help them to feel more comfortable coming to the table and actually communicating. So I hope this video is helpful to somebody. Please like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.